Outdoors. It's your back porch commentators coming to you from somewhere in Missouri, where a firm handshake means more than your signature, and a cold drink can help solve almost any problem. That's what we're planning to do here, bring you along on our journey to the answers to life's questions. You'll get a few facts and a lot of opinions, but remember, we're probably intoxicated and definitely full of shit. So pull up a chair and settle in while we explore some of those most thought-provoking questions, like why is a man bun a thing?
All right, everybody, welcome back. It's episode 25.
25. That's when their warranty runs out.
Yeah. Insurance goes down.
Their warranty is just over.
Sorry, guys. This is it. We're gonna cut you off after this. Yeah. Unless you email us at bjontheRocks@gmail.com.
Yeah, we didn't get any Halloween emails.
Nothing. Whatever. You know.
Yeah.
It's been a week, obviously. I mean, a couple weeks, I guess.
Right.
So I've not been on top of it. I know you've been kind of out of it.
Yeah, kind of busy, so.
I can't blame nobody, I guess, this week.
But the Halloween stories, you really thought somebody would have pitched in on that one.
I think that's fun.
Yeah.
But, you know, whatever.
Of course, I think it makes me question, possibly in another 25 or 30 years, is there going to be a Halloween?
Oh, my God.
It seems like there's so many, not only PC stuff, but yeah, I seen a school notice of a Halloween party and they couldn't do anything too scary. They couldn't do this, they couldn't do that, and I'm like,
I'm not sure you can be a clown anymore. That's too.
And that's,
you know, some kids are
afraid of clowns.
You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it anymore.
So
yeah, but what are we drinking this week?
Definitely this year Halloween is
weird. Everybody's so worried about being PC about everything.
Yeah.
I think that's half the company's responses to COVID. I think that's half the people's responses to everything. They're so worried about offending somebody.
Right.
It's just.
So you go all the way.
Yeah.
To this
There's even the comedians anymore are worried about it.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
And a lot of them quit doing college campuses.
Because of that
like
stuff.
within the last 10 years because they're like, I just don't. You can't make these people laugh.
Well,
you know,
they're
gonna
picketing or something.
Right, they're going to record a little bit of something, you take out of context, put it on YouTube, you know.
Right.
Now you hate, you know, this group of people or whatever, you know.
Right.
Whatever. Enough about that.
Yeah. Get me started.
This is for fun.
Yeah. And we don't give a shit what you think.
That's right.
As long as you're laughing.
That's right. Because we are fucking.
Yeah.
Got some Four Roses bourbon. I've been really into bourbon lately and watching a lot of top 10 lists and things like that. You know,
Right.
This seems to end up on several of the top 10 lists in the top 5 somewhere. So I've not tried it, so I'm gonna try this one now.
Let's see. The Legend of Four Roses, Paul Jones Jr. The founder of Four Roses Bourbon became smitten by a beautiful Southern belle. He sent a proposal to her, and she replied that if her answer were yes, she would wear a corsage of roses on her gown to the upcoming grand ball. When she showed up the night of the ball in her beautiful gown, she wore a corsage of 4 red roses. He later named his bourbon Four Roses as a symbol of his devout passion for the lovely belle. So did he marry her or not then? Because he's devout passion, but she said yes. And
he said, "Cool, but I'm gonna go make some bourbon."
Yeah, there's no name there. It wasn't like if he's devout passion for his wife of 50 years. No, it's just his symbol of his devout passion for some bitch that he went to a dance with 60 years ago, and he looks back as that as the one that got away because he got stuck with a woman that turned into 300 pounds after
his wife's from Connecticut.
Yeah, and doesn't cook anymore.
Obviously, no Southern belle there. It's like, you know, Four Roses. She's like, I'm not gonna ever drink. So he's like, great, you won't hear the story then.
Yeah, you'll never know the difference. Oh Lord.
So
let's see. The last episode we did, I must have been goofing or didn't hit the switch and cut the mic off halfway, and it took a lot of editing effort on your part to get it to where it was at least audible for listeners. So thank you for that.
I won't say it took a lot of effort. It was going to. And I started off with doing a lot of turn it down when I'm talking, turn it up when you're talking.
Back
Off
and
of this
forth.
mic, because it was picking you up, sort of, you know. So,
Right.
But then it started sounding like shit. Because it was like, you
Wah,
get
wah, wah,
the hiss,
wah.
you know, would
Back
come
and
up, and
forth.
it was like, I'm just going to crank up one side and just
Leave
go
it.
with it.
Right.
Y'all can just listen closer.
Or watch the audio.
Or watch the video, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, whatever. We're still
Still here.
new.
It is what it is.
25 episodes young. Whatever.
Yeah, and then last week, busy work week,
Right.
2 drivers short, and then my dog passed.
Yeah.
So the day that we were supposed to record, so I took the day off. I just thought, like I said, he gave me 14 years. I could give him one day. So
Deserved.
yeah. As you mentioned, it seemed quiet in the house.
Oh my god. And if you don't know, like, go back and listen to episode 3. I believe
You
it
can
was.
hear him.
Yeah, and I thought I'm going to share this, and I forgot to, and I meant to, but I wanted to share it and say something about it. You know,
Right.
like, you know, you can definitely hear him in this one.
Yeah.
This was,
Yeah.
and so that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I kind of listened to part of it, and I was like, yep, there
There it is. He was born in this house during Jack's mother had 2 older boys, and it was the oldest boy's 7th birthday. And we had kids over here, and I was out back barbecuing, and I heard whimpering in the yard, and thought, well, the dog's got a hold of a squirrel or something. You know, and I went over there, chipmunk, groundhog, whatever. I went over there, and there was a puppy laying in the yard. Her dog had started dumping this litter out while the birthday party was going on. So I'm going back and forth between the birthday party, checking on the dog, barbecuing, you know, all this stuff.
Wow.
So Curious was born here in the garage, and so I held him for his first breath, and I held him for his last.
Yeah.
And I think really that's all you can ask for. I mean, when you got when it comes to pets, anyways, like either it seems like people either chain them up out back and forget they exist, or it becomes a part of your family. For me, it was a big part of my family, and
He was a fixture.
yeah, I had a sister, and she passed away 2 years ago, and after that it was me and him, and we were like 2 grumpy old men living in a house, and that's why it worked, and we got along fine. And like I said, he's gonna be missed, and it brings to mind to me, anyways, you know, pets in the past, things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you think back to memories, and you think back, you know, to childhood, the dogs that, you know, made a difference. Whatever. It seems like we always had a dog, but this is my first time without a animal in the house, a pet, for a long time, and I don't know what to do, not having to rush home to let a dog out, or, you know, just thinking schedule-wise what I need to do. But there's a song, and I know you probably already know where I'm going with it. It's Old Dogs and Children and Watermelon Wine.
Yeah.
You know, so it brings that song to mind, and boy, it's absolutely right, because
That's good.
old dogs, they'll forgive you, and they love you, and accept you for what you are, and they're always there. And children are kind of the same way. They accept you for what you are. There's not a lot of hatred. There's judgment. They're just, who are you?
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's who you are.
Yeah.
That's how I
Let's be friends, you know? And I think the world needs more old dogs and children and little watermelon wine. So here's that. Here's the old dogs and children.
That's right.
That's smooth.
It is good.
That is tasty.
That is good. I might like the Maker's Mark better. Haven't decided yet. But this is good. If you haven't had 4 Roses,
Yeah.
I recommend.
Or even 3 carnations. Try this.
3 carnations.
Hello, sport
The white
jacket.
sport That's when I could sip straight.
Oh yeah. If you wanted to get real fucked
I
up.
wanted
You didn't have to drive
Yeah.
anywhere for a while.
But it's a Wednesday night, so we're not going to finish this bottle tonight, obviously.
Unfortunately.
So, But yeah, go ahead and crack that open.
I really do like to get shitty off a straight bourbon.
Yeah,
It's just
right.
when you work 6 days a week, it's like,
Gotta pace it.
Yeah.
Gotta pick those days.
I can't do that anymore. I can't get drunk, sleep 2 hours, and go to work. It just does
Right.
not work.
Yeah, that's. I think we're over those days. At least I am.
I'm not over them. I just,
Speaking of
miss them.
right, yeah. Speaking of getting shit faced and going to work, it's not as bad when you have a dream job, right?
Right.
I guess. What was your dream job growing up?
Like what
And
I wanted to be?
Yeah.
Uh,
How does your current job compare to that?
God.
As long as your first job wasn't porn star, right? Right.
No, that
Your
didn't
dream
hit
job was
until
porn
about,
star.
15, 16.
Right.
And then by the time I was later half of 15 or 16, I realized that I did not have the proper
Utilities.
utilities. Yes. I would say when I was a kid, I wanted to either be a cop or a pilot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I guess part of me is thankful that I'm not a cop now.
Right.
And God bless the
That's
people who do
terrible.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And being a pilot, I started to work on my pilot's license last year, and then
I remember that.
things didn't work out timing wise, and I still got my
Yeah.
logbook and stuff, but
Do you gotta like start over? Like if it's been so long since you?
no, your hours are accumulative, from
Okay.
what I understand. I think you have to do it so much, but it's very expensive.
Right.
I mean, it's an effort. So, and the thing is once you got it, then you either are a sport pilot or you continue your education, and
Yeah.
and then when you actually get it, you have to start to build up to like get airliners where they're going to pay you well.
Yeah.
And now they're saying actually with our generation, it used to be if you were over 40, you don't even start in the industry because you're never going to get anywhere. Because it would take you 20 years to get
Oh shit.
through one and then step up to a first,
Yeah.
yeah, and by the time you become a captain, you were, 20 years in, 15, 20 years.
Probably a lot of the
retired
younger
out.
guys were in the military.
Right.
You know,
Right, so they had
right
hours
there.
and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
but now they're saying they're hurting for pilots. Here's my
Really?
thing: is it seems like there's a lot of jobs that are hurting
Right.
for people.
There's not a lot of flights. Are there?
Right.
Hurting for pilots.
So,
I would think there'd be 10 pilots out there wanting to fly because
well, and that's
you
and
don't
I'm-
see a
I'm
lot of
sure
streaks across the sky anymore.
Right. Well, I think that's a lot of the economic status of things too. Because
Yeah.
it's I think expensive to run those, and boy, it just how many times just in the last 20 years have you heard about airlines struggling and
Right.
downsizing and cutting flights and
Yeah.
yada yada yada. I mean, it's just
Well, we were in a thrift shop the other day, and they had a pin of TWA, and I was like, oh shit! Like I almost forgot about it. I haven't thought about TWA in
yeah.
years.
what was that?
Well,
Was that
they were
Catch Me
based
If
in
You Can?
Kansas City, right?
There's a museum down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my uncle actually worked for him, and then when they moved to Dallas, he moved to Dallas, but then he went with a different airline after a few years,
Right.
and then they closed out. But yeah, I think it was say Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
I think
It was
was
a TWA.
yeah,
Tom Hanks.
Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I like any era films.
Right. It is based on a true story too.
Yeah, the guy actually went to work for the FBI.
He
and
did,
everything
yeah.
For fraud investigations.
He's a very interesting guy.
Yeah.
And I saw the talk that he did, and I was like, that's a guy I could talk to for a long time.
Right. Well, there's another character that DiCaprio played that was also interesting, and that was that Jordan, whatever.
Belfleur.
Right.
Yeah.
Wolf of
Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah.
And he's interesting, but sometimes I watch the actual person talk. You'll see a clip of him on YouTube or something. I'm like, you're kind of a douchebag. Like, you didn't learn much out of that, did you?
Right.
But,
Yeah.
Anyway, what was yours?
Mine was obviously a musician. I asked mom and dad for a guitar for years. You know, from the time I was like
And they didn't want
5,
the noise.
you know? Yeah. And so they bought me like the little Mickey Mouse thing, you know, when I was like 5, you know, and then when I was like 7 or 8, they got the one where you push the button and it plays a little tune, you know, or
Right.
whatever. And I was like, no, I want a guitar, a real guitar,
Right.
like Grandpa's, you know. I want a guitar like Grandpa's, you know. And then finally, when I was 12, I got a guitar, you know. So that's, I guess, like I'm kind of half living that dream. I get paid every now and then to play music.
With more financial security than actually
Right.
being full time.
Yes. I like to say my day job kind of supports my night habit, right? So.
Mine too. It
Yeah.
just involves a lot more internet.
Right.
Yeah, I started.
I was wanting to be a firefighter.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think changed there?
I don't know. I think I got burned once or something. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, well, I don't know if I want to do that anymore.
So you mean they don't roast hot dogs and marshmallows all the
Yeah.
time?
No, they just went down the pole and that was it.
Yeah, over and over, took
Yeah.
truck rides.
Yeah.
They had a Dalmatian. You can't beat
You got a
that.
Dalmatian, you're coming sliding down the pole, you're just hanging out with your buddies.
Maybe
What's
that's
wrong with that?
maybe that's where some of these strippers started. They just wanted to be firefighters and they realized that they couldn't carry that
I
much
can do,
hose.
yeah.
So
I can do anything a man can do, right?
yeah, so they just started pole dancing because they still got the pole
Yeah.
and they still handled the little hose. It just wasn't quite as hard on their back.
Their
and they got
dad
paid a lot better.
their dad made
I don't know if
the
they're
worst
union.
decision. He's like, well, if you want to be a firefighter, we'll get you a pole, we'll put it in your bedroom in the corner, and you can practice, you know, going doing that, and then
If you
maybe
like that,
someday-
yeah.
yeah. And she's like, never mind, I can make more money too.
That would be an excellent, when you think about it, porn. It starts up with the girl, a pole expands out, turns out she's in a firehouse, and all of a sudden it's like a 12-man gangbang.
Yeah. All the lights come on.
Hot legs! Check it and see! I started piano when I was 8, and I still sat down and play, but it's been years
Yeah.
since I've played for anybody.
Yeah.
It's something that I do by myself, and nice
Yeah.
spring day or fall or something, I'll crack these windows open and I'll sit with the breeze and play and whatnot. Just
Yeah.
chill out, or late night can't sleep.
Got any?
I'll be drinking and
Oh
sit
yeah.
down and play. But when I think back to the amount, you don't think about it as being young, but the amount of money that my mom and dad had to invest in me learning.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, and it was.
Did you
it was-
take lessons?
Yeah, I took
Okay.
legit lessons every week or whatnot. And I had 2 teachers. I had one, and she decided she took a part-time job or a full-time job at the school as a music
Okay.
teacher. And so I had to go to another teacher, but I just wasn't really learning a whole lot from her. And so they asked her if she'd take me back, and there was a spot open, and so I went back and took lessons from her. But it was, when I think back, I was like, I don't even remember the exact amount. I think when we started, it was like $8 a week for a lesson.
Right.
And then towards the end, it was like,
That's what guitar was
18.
too.
it was like, and when you think about it,
Oh, now they're charging like $40.
I was going to say that'd have to be $40-$50 a week now,
Yeah.
compared to, then you're pushing 20, and now it's and sometimes that is make or breaking your budget, and somehow they still found the money, and they were driving me to lessons and having to go back and get me
Yeah.
and stuff, and I mean, half of that, well, if I started at 8, so for 2 years anyways, we didn't even live in town, so they'd have to drive from Pickering to Maryville to drop me off for lessons, and they'd
Oh wow, yeah.
come back for it, it's so when you think
Sure
about
wants to do all the grocery shopping while you're doing your lesson.
right,
You gotta have a reason to.
hang out for
To
a
come
while.
here,
Yeah.
yeah.
So when I think back, I mean, the amount of effort they put forth, you gotta appreciate that.
Yeah.
Granted, it's not anything that I've made money off of or anything like that. I did think at one point it would be fun before Jack was born to join one of those, like for the piano bars, because they
Yeah.
rotate them out every like 6 or 8 weeks and move them around. I thought that would be fun because I was like, well, I can make up dirty lyrics and play the piano.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Well, we've talked about that before. Trying to do something, but man, it's hard to get together with people
Everything.
and practice music where you're
It's
in
an
time, and where
Yeah.
you're tight enough you can go out and perform for people.
Right.
It's tough.
Especially if you got jobs that are
Yeah, don't line up very well.
right. Sometimes I wish I had a regular job. Like, would I really make any less? Would I just have less stress in my life? And then I think about how much of a pain it would be. Something that I'd probably struggle with
Yeah.
after 15 years.
I had that was a struggle for me this week. Was
Having that chain of
having
command
someone
come down
tell
on you.
me what to do and how to do it, and then at the same time telling me that I could take over and run the department, but yet I had to do it a different way.
You're like, well, either let me do it or don't.
Either you believe in me or you don't.
Right. If I'm taking this because you think I can do it, not because I'm going to be your
I'm
bitch.
not going to be you.
Right.
Yeah, that was fun this week. But anyway, that's beside the point.
That's why we drink.
That's why we drink.
Why we drink.
Yeah. I was gonna say, do you have any go-to songs? 'Cause I know you don't play a lot anymore, but do you have any that?
No, I just.
When you sit down, you go, I'm gonna always play, Stairway to Heaven or what, whatever you do.
There's only
Yeah,
honestly
man.
a couple songs that I even have partially memorized anymore.
Yeah.
So I do pull out more music than I, but no, I'll just pull out something and
Yeah.
flip through the pages until I find something I want to, tinker with.
Yeah. That's fun.
When I'm drinking, when I start getting really shitty, it's more like one hand pecking melodies by ear, and I'm just playing. I'm just like, I'm not quite Clint Eastwood in Line of Fire or whatever it was, where he's like in a jazz bar and he's drunk. He's like, I'm just like, ting 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 ting. Not quite that bad, but you know what I'm saying. It's just like, I'm just here to please myself, man. That's all I care about.
I learned, like you say, when I was talking about guitar earlier, I learned about 3 chords basically on the piano, and it's like, I can just kind of, play around to make people think I know what the fuck I'm doing. And I don't. I'm just like, I know C, F, and G, and I just go back and forth, and you just think that I know what I'm doing.
Fake it till you make it.
Hey, man, But,
I don't know.
yeah, my day job definitely wasn't. Here's how I got into IT. So, I was working, we were talking about working in factories earlier.
Right.
Sorry for those of you listening to audio, I just smacked my mic.
Who's my ding?
So I got out of high school, and me and Tish were engaged, and she was going to go, she wanted to go do some college, so went to Vanderbilt, and she was going to do business administration or something along those lines, right? So I drove down there, went with her, into the meeting, and they're like, "Hey, what are you gonna do?" And I was like, "I'm working in a factory, That's
what I'm doing.
I'm pretty full set, Okay, that's my future right there, It's just I'll be a lead man one day, and
Right.
and that's what Dad did, And then they're like, "Well, what if I told you could make this much money, in 2 years?" And I was like, "Well, that's a lot more than what I was going to make in the factory.
Right.
What are we talking?" She's like, "We got computer programming." I was like, "I like computers."
Yeah. Why not?
I don't know a lot about making them work, I guess, other than typing in GarthBrooks.com. At that time, there was no Pornhub. Well, you couldn't even get images to load back in.
Right.
Let alone a fucking video. But, so I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll sign up for that on a whim.
Right.
Sure. And they're like, we got financing, all that, whatever. Okay, sure. And that's how I got into IT.
Just literally walked into
Literally was like, you can make $60,000 in 2 years. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. How long did it take you to actually get to $60,000 a year? Not
14 years.
Yeah, they sell that shit, don't they?
Yeah.
Because I actually took some of those classes too.
Yeah.
And right when that happened, there was a giant downsizing. It was in Kansas City.
Yep.
And there was guys coming in, and they're like, "Yeah, I was where you were like 3 years ago, and I had a job for 6 weeks or 6 months or 8 months, whatever." And they're like, I come into work and they were boxing shit up, and I was
That's
like,
fucking terrible, man.
and they flooded the market.
Yeah.
They just
We were
flooded the
like,
market with-
we were in like right before, like I was like halfway through
Right.
classes when all the downsizing was going on. And it was
Right.
like- and yeah, so we were about the same time, obviously, and it was like, well, fuck. You know?
Right.
Now they got all these guys with 20 years experience that are willing to take any job now because anything's
Right.
better than nothing, you know. So, you know, you got these guys with 10, 15, 20 years experience, and I'm like, I got nothing. They're
Right.
like, fuck you. But, so I fucking did insurance, I did truck driving.
Right.
You know, I did every job I could until I finally got the actual IT job. And even that was a contractor. You know, so I learned that, you know, just keep going.
Yeah. Just keep swimming.
And then, well, and now I'm kind of at that point, and it's unfortunate at the same time it's security, to where, I mean, obviously if we went through another crash like we did then, it would suck, but I guess I feel stuck in where I'm at because I can't go back to making $8 an hour,
Right.
you know, but I know if I did, I'd somehow survive.
You can always do it more. Or
It's
do it
like-
less, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I could be broke making nothing. Like,
Right.
if I'm broke making 60,000, I can be broke making nothing. I've been there. You always spend whatever you make.
Right.
Seems like, and
Right.
now we finally got to a point where we're saving some, but it was like, you know, fuck. I can survive on anything.
Yeah. And sometimes you gotta take those couple steps back. I know if I quit doing what I'm doing, I'd probably have to be an adjustment of
Oh,
sorts and then come back from it. But around here, it's so limited.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Yeah, I'd have to go to Kansas City.
Oh, yeah.
Like, without a doubt, there's nothing. Well, yeah. You know that my old job at the hospital is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they might bring them back. I don't know,
But then, how long do you want to be with someplace that's going to do the
yeah,
back and forth like that?
yeah, because that was the second time that you know, because the first time I left before they were trying to basically get rid of the IT department completely.
Really?
And yeah, the lady that was the CIO was trying to outsource everything. She was going around just cutting everything.
Right.
And until finally the CEO told her to get the fuck out, basically.
Right.
And so I wish I would have been there for that. but I left before they found out that I'm not doing anything, because I was on help desk nights and I was like watching movies.
So
And,
get paid.
Yeah. And but then this last time was different. It was, you know, I had left not knowing what was going to happen, assuming that someone else was going to fill my job, and it was, you know, just keep going. And then found out later that it was, you know, they had started cutting everybody because of COVID, I guess. That's what they blamed it on, and I was like, well, what the fuck? We were all busy before.
Right.
Now what?
You know,
I mean-
sometimes I wonder if a little bit of this whole hiring, because I'm going through it a little bit trying to find somebody to work.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's not. I mean, obviously there's a lot of lazy people out there that just whatever, you know. But in the same sense, I'm starting to wonder if we don't just have too much out there for, because people that go out and get a college degree don't want to get into a truck driving job. It's beneath them.
Yeah.
And people that are only skills trained can't get into jobs that have education requirements, even
Right.
though half the time those jobs require, they don't really necessitate it. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
it's like really, you,
No,
you
it's-
need a degree to sit there and do that.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, there's a lot of them that kind of got into, you know, preferred degrees,
Right.
you know, and so then it's like, okay, well, I've got 10 years experience, but I only got an associate's degree.
right?
So they're like, all right, whatever, you know, prove you know some shit, come on, you know.
Right.
But No, you, yeah, but I was talking about my first time I was on the help desk. I was literally watching movies all night long, and I was on Blockbuster had a thing. It was like kind of Netflix, and they you could get online and fill up a queue, you know, and then they'd send you a DVD.
Yeah,
And then you
I remember that.
watch it, take it back to Blockbuster store, right? And you could trade that DVD in for a rental.
Oh, for a rental.
So you get a rental, right? And then they would scan it, and then they'd send you the next one. So you'd always have one, you know?
Right, rotating.
You never had to wait for the next one to show up. And I was like, this is kind of cool, you know?
Right.
I caught up on so many movies. And then, well, where's Blockbuster now, right?
Well, right.
And do you know the whole story between Netflix and Blockbuster?
I don't think I do.
So, this is a really interesting story, and it's about accepting change and embracing it, and not being a fucking douchebag, right?
You just named all my flaws right there. Call me out, John. Jesus.
I'm trying to help you. But no, so this guy, what was his name? Reed Hastings, started Netflix, and had no idea what the future was going to hold, right?
Right.
This was when DVDs were just like barely starting to be made, and he's like gonna bank on this whole DVD thing, and so he starts this mailing DVD thing, and he's losing money for years, but he's gaining customers, right?
Right.
But he's losing money because he's like putting everything he makes into the company,
Right.
you know, and gets up to so many titles and whatever. He goes to Blockbuster, and he's like, hey, let's partner, you know. I'll promote you guys, you know, and I'll run your online thing. Because they hadn't been online. They didn't really have an online presence.
Right.
Because they were like, fuck it,
We got so many locations.
everybody's renting movies from us, you know.
Right.
We're fine. And he's like, well, here, I've got this online thing already set up. It's already plug and play. You just take the name, whatever, you know, and you promote me in your store, and we'll do this, you know. And they just laughed at him. It was like, fuck you, you know.
Yeah.
Get out of here. We're Blockbuster, right?
Right.
and then he just keeps going. And he's like, all right, fine. So then he just keeps going. And then it all kind of comes down to Blockbuster with their late fees and all that. Because Netflix had no late fees.
Right.
And then they started getting all the popular titles eventually. And basically, they shut them down. I mean,
Yeah.
and when we got to online streaming, I mean,
Well, there
Could
was
you
the Netflix with the DVDs, and then there was what, Redbox,
yeah, they had a Redbox. You know.
which I still see. I think there's one down
There's
in
still
Dollar
some,
General.
yeah.
Yeah.
Others, few in Maryville even, but and we go to the Redbox every now and then if when it's like on a whim, like
Right.
hey, let's rent this movie.
Go see
Oh,
it.
it's not on Netflix. It's not on
Right.
Hulu. Let's go
Right.
get it from the Redbox for $1 or whatever, $2. And but yeah, I mean, it was like, so this guy just embraced some change, embraced the shit,
Right.
Love the suck, whatever you want to call it,
Right.
right? And put Blockbuster out of business. The ultimate
Fuck
fuck
back.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. Simpler times.
Yeah. It was crazy, man. But yeah. I remember when I was hauling mail with you, like that's when Netflix was really starting to get popular.
Oh yeah. We
And
had
I
to
was
pull
like,
them out
God,
and set them down.
and especially over in Conception, all the fucking guys over at the
seminary.
seminary, yeah.
Right.
And I was like, every day was like, fucking.
And you have to pick them
Netflix.
out. They got to a point where you had to pick them out
Yeah.
because they were breaking in the automated,
fuck.
like the DPS and the letters and shit. They didn't.
Yep.
What was I gonna say? No, I was
That's gonna go off topic from our dream job. But.
Yeah, no. It happens
That's what
on
we
the
do.
show. we were talking about Halloween episodes, and we didn't get any emails on that shit, but we were talking earlier. Yeah, speaking of back in the days, yeah. We were talking about how I remember trick-or-treating in the snow and the sleet and shit.
Yeah.
My mom and Dad, Ben, had a cooler. And we'd get like 2 or 3 family or whatever, and we would go to areas of town and trick or treat, and the dads would like set the car and drink.
Really?
Yeah, and then we'd
That's awesome.
go trick or treat and come back. Of course, my mom was very love her to death moody, but she would, yeah, right, be out in the snow and the sleep, chick getting pissy, and yeah, those were good times. But I was thinking back, and trick-or-treating is completely different now. Like, I've lived in this house for 14 years now.
Yeah.
And I never get any trick-or-treaters, like, ever, on the street. No, I think there's been, like, 1 or 2 years, the first couple of years, and that was it.
You got some new ones.
Right.
Maybe.
Which I won't even be home for
This year. Won't happen, but...
Yeah, but it's like, it just changed. People went to people, now they go to people they know. And now this year... Who knows how it's going to... I've heard we're going to have a virtual Halloween party in costume. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And then the school sends out a notification saying it can't be scary, it can't be this, it can't be that. You got to do this and this and COVID and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, how long with the political correctness agenda that everybody has right now until we just don't...
Yeah.
And trick-or-treating was originally started in Wathena, Kansas. The version of dressing up door-to-door candy. It started in Wathena, Kansas. Did you know that? There was a woman that was, she was the head of her garden club, and this was like back in the 19-teens, whatever, 1911, some shit like that. And every Halloween, they'd fuck her garden up, basically. And so she started, she was like,
fuck her garden.
He's going to plow some dirt. So she started thinking, well, I'm going to have a party. And then everybody can come in costumes, and I'm going to do this and this and this, and that's how it started. And then the next morning, your garden was still there. So every year, neighbors got involved, and candy, and it kept these kids basically busy from fucking shit up. And that's where the trick or treat, you give us food, we won't fuck your shit up. Yeah. And which is the beginning of the end as far as really just raising. That's when negotiating with your kids began. If you really think about it, now that I mention it, it's like, look, if I give you candy, will you just not do this anymore? Yeah. Instead of just smacking the dog shit.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, shoot some rock salt at these kids when they're out fucking your garden up. And we'll see if they come back next year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
But and now with Ring doorbells, you can't light a bag of dew on fire and run in the garage. I mean, all those pranks are gone. Ding dong dicks, that's all gone. Some guy in the shitter flips the camera open and you're standing there giggling. It's gonna look pretty stupid on your part. You know what I'm saying? So those good times, they're all gone. These kids have totally missed out. And in 20, 30 years of trick-or-treating's done, and because everybody's afraid of
the boogeyman.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever the boogeyman
COVID,
is that year,
poisoning candy, fucking human contact in general.
It was right as we were kind of getting to that age where we quit trick-or-treating that they were talking about like the whole...
I remember
put drugs in your candy,
right?
And I'm like,
razor blades in your candy,
razor blades in the apples, and it was like, now wait a second. First of all, like, no one's giving away drugs.
Where do I go for that?
It's that easy.
Why are you paying for it if you're just gonna give it away for free?
Exactly.
That's how they get you hooked, man.
That's how they get you hooked. Here's a sample, kid.
Start them at 8.
Yeah. You're 8, here's an 8 ball. No wonder we stayed up all night. But man, so we used to go to the houses we knew, and because grandparents all lived in town and that. But then, man, we'd go out in the neighborhood for 2 or 3 hours probably.
Come back with big sacks that you would never eat. All of that.
Oh shit. Oh, I did, trust me. No, but yeah, it'd be fucking like
6-8 months old.
Yeah, it'd be like Easter coming around, like, oh, well, at least Easter's coming around. My chocolate's getting all chalky,
Yeah, the hard candy is like sticking to the wrappers now.
Oh man, fucking some of the shit people gave you.
Oh yeah, there was the good houses, and then there was like
You'd
real-
mark them.
And you gotta appreciate though that they at least did something, because some of those people were probably, struggling to make ends meet. They still go out and buy cheap ass candy for kids.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We had one house on our street, and they always give out a pencil and a popcorn ball. And I'm like, that sucks,
Right.
But
they
it's
were
like,
buying
they were
pencils.
older. They were old people,
Right.
and they had no young kids of their own, or So it's like, So my parents were like, "You got to go see them. You got to go."
Right.
And when I was a kid, I was like, "Come on, man." But later on, I'm glad they made me do it, because it was like they didn't have anybody,
Well, right.
They never had visitors.
Think of the amount of time she took to make all those popcorn
Yeah.
balls, and then went out and spent money on pencils,
Right.
and shit like that. So
Yeah. And you're a kid. You always need pencils.
yeah.
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 the what was the standardized testing back then? Missouri. Anyway, they were coming around.
math testing, MAP.
Maybe it was math. Yeah,
Something like
it was
that.
something like that. But yeah, it was. They're always coming around. You need a pencil.
Yeah,
Number
two number two pencils,
It's a good old number
pre-sharpened, so you can stab your teacher. No, I mean,
Right.
yeah,
that was the house that was across the street from my parents, and it actually blew up. I don't know if you remember that. That was.
Did they
had
die?
a gas leak, yeah. The
Oh, that's
two older
sad.
people, they had a son that lived with them, and he was in his 50s probably.
Well, that's depressing.
But yeah, it's actually, so I won't say who lives there now, but it's a new house there now.
You're right.
That house is gone. But here's a story about that. So it was across the street from my parents. They had a gas leak, right? And they had been out, come home from the store or whatever, and opened up the door, and it had just the right amount of oxygen to gas. Combination. Well, the guy smoked a pipe.
No.
And they think he probably, went to light his pipe, and
Kaboom.
the whole house, exploded. It was an explosion. They heard it, 3 miles out of town, and I was still going to school at Vadrot, and my wife called me and said, I was like, she's calling me. I was like, it's important, She doesn't call me unless it's important. So I stepped out of class, and I was like, what's up? She's like, you need to come home. I was like, why? What's up? She's like, just come home. I'll tell you when you get here. And I was like, holy shit, what happened?
Right.
So I'm coming home, and well, what happened? Her mom always had a scanner going.
Right.
And so she's listening on the scanner, and she hears my parents' address come over the scanner as the house exploded, no survivors expected.
Oh shit.
And so all the way home, my wife's trying to think, how am I going to tell him his family is dead? Because my sister was living there with my parents at the time.
Right.
And with her daughter, and so she's thinking, oh my God, how am I going to tell him that his family is all dead, right? I get home, and she's like freaking out. Well, then I get home, and about that time, my mom calls me, and I was like, oh, what's up? she's like, hey, just so you know, the house across the street exploded, blah, 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 and
More
she was
fine.
telling me all this, and I was like, okay, cool, I mean, not cool, but, oh my God, that sucks. Glad you're okay.
Right.
What's going on, And anyway, the son ended up surviving. He got, blown to the basement and crawled out somehow. And Mom,
Jesus.
being a nurse, goes over there, and he's wandering around the yard, half burnt,
Oh yeah, probably
and
deaf as
so
shit.
she's, got him wrapped in blankets and making sure he's okay. But yeah, crazy, man. But yeah, so because it came across the scanner to my parents' address, and so she's like freaking out. Oh my God, But because Dad was like, they wanted an address, and he's like, I don't know their fucking address. It's the fucking house that's on fire.
Yeah.
On Alco. Like,
if you get here, you'll find the
Yeah.
hole.
then
Where the
first
house
turn on
used to be.
Alco, and you'll see it. Like, fuck, didn't you hear it? And so he gave them their address so it come across the scanner. And, it's like, well, if you show up at that address, you're going to see it.
Yeah, you'll figure out which house is on fire, which house where it used to be.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine the thoughts that went through her head, just thinking she's going to have to tell me the whole family's dead. I was like, glad you didn't have to have that conversation with me.
Yeah.
Timing was everything there. Anyway.
Yeah.
That was the house that the old people lived in.
She calls. Look, I don't care what we eat for dinner. No. Your parents are dead.
Right.
Oh. So we're doing pizza then, I take
So
it.
I'll pick up something.
Yes. Yeah. Something quick then?
Maybe you could call ahead. I'll just pick it up. I don't feel like waiting for it now.
Oh, good times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what I got to follow that up.
There's no following that up.
I did make some lists. Here's a fun website. I heard about this the other day. So you know the whole joke about McDonald's and their ice cream machines being broken, you know? Oh, every time you go order ice cream, their ice cream machine's down, right? And not when we were working there. You know, we clean that fucker every night, and it's hardly ever down.
Right.
And so this has become like popular memes, you know, of the ice cream machine at McDonald's. So this guy, I guess he's in Germany, and the same thing over there, right? So he's like, how serious is this, you know? So he's a coder, and he writes this fucking website, and it goes, and it basically like goes to online McDonald's orders, right? Puts a ice cream cone in the cart, right? And if the ice cream is broken, it rejects it, takes it out of the cart. So he's got this thing that goes, automates an order of ice cream. If it takes it out, he pops it up as broken on the website, right? So if you go to McBroken.com,
okay,
you can just pop up a map and you can see, you know,
how many ice cream machines
all
are
of them are
down?
red or green, you know, and it's constantly sitting there like popping in orders, you know, and I was like, oh, that's funny, because every time I go through McDonald's, one night I went through, there's 4 McDonald's in St. Joe,
And you went through
and I went through all of them. Well, I went through 3 of them. I didn't feel like going to the 4th, and I was like, fuck it. But I was like, I want a chocolate ice cream cone, right? So I go, well, I want a chocolate ice cream cone. Oh, we're broken. Sorry. Fuck. Went to the next one. Yeah, I want a chocolate ice cream. We're broken. I'm like, really? I was like, because they're broken down the street too. What the fuck's going on? I'm like, I don't know. We're just broken. Fuck. Went to the 3rd one. And I was just like, I was too mad to go to the 4th. I was just like, I'm gonna blow up a fucking McDonald's. Right? Give me my ice cream. But
so I'm sitting here looking at. I've opened this page up now.
the McBroken.
The McBroken.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it, and according to this, there should be no problems with any ice cream near us by any means.
Right.
The nearest one down would be like, there's one.
Kansas City.
Marshall.
St.
in
Louis.
south of Joplin. And
Well,
we're
the other night there was one in St. Joe that was down, and then like Columbia, I think, and like 2 in St. Louis, a couple in Kansas City. But yeah, God, it seemed like fucking
all of them.
every time I want ice cream, they're fucking broken.
But are they really broken, or they just took it down to clean it?
I'm thinking they just don't want to make ice
They
cream.
just don't want to do it. And how hard is that? I mean, it's not like there's anything you clean
Like I
them.
said, maybe they don't want to clean it, so they just don't ever start it up.
Right.
I don't know. But but no, we had to do it every fucking day.
Oh yeah, we took it down and cleaned it. It seemed like about 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
It would set until the next morning.
Yeah.
But that was when we used to close too.
Used to close.
24 hours a day. It was,
Yeah.
What time did we close back then?
1, I think.
Yeah, it was late.
Yeah.
It was late.
And we closed the lobby at like 11 or something, and then
Right.
closed the
and
drive-through
it was
at
like
1 or maybe it was 2 after the drunks. I don't know.
I don't remember.
No, because all the drunks went to Hardee's
Yeah, that's
across
right.
the street. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd all be out in the parking lot watching all the drunks. Yeah.
Right.
Wait for
Yeah.
Greyhound to show up, and we go Perkins run.
Yeah, and then we go to Well, it was
Perkins.
open at like 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh man, I remember one time we ran down to Perkins, and I think there was like 8 of us in an Oldsmobile I had.
Yeah.
And it started snowing on the way down. By the time
shit.
we made it to Savannah, you couldn't even see the lines on the road. So we get to St. Joe, and we eat, and as
And
we
people sleeping in
leave,
your car.
yeah. Oh, people were on each other's laps and everything else. And anyways, this was before all the gas stations had credit cards. So if it wasn't open, and
Yeah.
you
were done.
were done.
Yeah.
You had to go inside to pay no matter what. There was no pay at the pump back then. And
All the good old days.
yeah, so we found the only station that was going to be open. I was like, there's one down on the belt, you know, kind of over by where Cecil Myers and Priscilla's was back. It was Priscilla's back in the day.
Yeah.
And there wasn't much on that end of town. That Sonic wasn't there. There wasn't an AutoZone. It was starting to taper down that side of town, you know.
Yeah.
And I was going down that hill by Kmart, and we realized that it wasn't on. There was no traffic out there, so I just started slowing down, and I pulled the car in first gear, and I reached over and hit the e-brake, and we spun around like 3 times in the middle of the belt, and right as we faced back up the hill, I let off the e-brake and hammered the gas, and we went back up that hill. And they were like, the girls were like, why did you do that? And I was like, well, I was worried if we stopped at the bottom of that hill, we wouldn't get back up either side. So I was just being an asshole.
So why not?
Yeah, why not? It spun around more times than what I'd planned
Yeah.
on. But it still looked cool.
Do that
It was
sometimes.
cool afterwards,
Right.
but there was that point where I was like,
Halfway through
done
you're
fucked
going,
up now.
"Oh,
Hey,
shit."
you're on it. Yeah. Uncle Jesse kicks in, you know. Got
Fucked
yourself
up.
in a pickle now, didn't you, boy?
Stops in the middle. You're like, well, let's see what the boys do on this one. On the other side of the break.
That was a good time, though. We made it back just fine, right as the sun was rising, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Because it took it was a long ass drive.
They're already open.
Oh, man.
They're like, why is everybody's car still here?
Yeah.
I guess they had
There
to
was-
walk home. Huh?
There was one girl there. She was a freshman in college when we were like a senior, and her name was Lacey Ann, Laci-Ann, and she was from like Lincoln, Nebraska, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And she drove a dark green Z28 Camaro. It was like that mid-late 90s body style,
Yeah.
and it was a
Don't put it up.
5 or 6 speed. Yeah, 5 or 6 speed. Just let me do this while I finish. It was a 5 or 6 speed, whatever it was. I just remember it was a manual, and she was. And we went and cruised one night. And looking back, like I look back and I'm like, she wanted to make out.
Right.
And then I'm like, you.
The
dumb.
thing-
Because then after that night, like everything changed. I didn't make a move because I was a pussy, thinking, you know, what's a college girl want with me? And then after that, when I didn't make a move, like everything changed. She was off to another guy because
Right.
there's only a window of opportunity with pussy. If you don't take it, then the train keeps going. Yeah. It's like the Roadrunner running for an open door, or the Wile E. Coyote running for an open door in the train, and he gets right to it, and the train's rolling, and he goes right into the closed door, you know. And it's like, oh man, I missed that. And God, she was like 6 foot tall and blonde, and drove a Camaro with a manual in it. I mean,
Yeah.
that was
Man.
Eddie Van Halen was playing on the top of her car,
It's
you
already
know.
there.
Yeah, I was so close, man.
Yeah. Oh man, you know, there's so many of those things. Like you look back and you go, God, if I would have known then.
What I know
I
now.
don't know now.
That's no shit.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
pretty good straight though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I'm gonna tame it up a little bit though, because I don't. I drank that first one straight.
Oh, we could make a couple episodes out of this one.
Yeah, no shit. No, I had a random thought the other day.
Oh, yeah?
Though. We've had a fairly generic episode here, so I'm gonna throw this in to
Okay.
spice it up a little bit.
Let's do it.
If somebody came to you and were like, "We're gonna make a sex toy. We're gonna name it after you," what would they call it?
I mean, the obvious one would be Dirty Johnson.
Mac Daddy.
Huh. That's a good question.
Yeah, and what would it do? I mean, would it be like,
Oh.
would it be a plain, simple wiener, or would you have, you know, what is the rabbit with the 14 different functions and the pearls in it and shit, or would it be like?
So yeah, let's
I mean, when you think about it, there's so many options.
I've been known, I guess, based on some comments, that I don't talk dirty enough on this show.
Oh, I was like, well, Tish is the only one that can be saying this.
So
on some comments from my wife.
I would think it would have something to do with the tongue, right? And if it's going after me, like you say, some pearl snaps or something. Just to kind of like, decorate it a little bit, Some flannel. Some plaid.
Make it flannel, like flowered print. Put the pearls on the inside so that the buttons rotate.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing. I'm just thinking of like Al from Tool Time for Home Improvement as a dildo. It's flannel and pearl snaps. Maybe put some sideburns or a beard at the base.
I don't think so.
What?
Huh?
Oh,
The Flannel Twister 3000.
Needs more power.
Oh, shit. I assume you have one in mind.
Not really. No, the question came to mind, and I couldn't ever really figure out. Yeah, no, I wrote that one down, and I don't even remember what I was thinking about. I was like, oh, yeah.
Well, it'd have to include your last name, because it would be nicely done.
Right.
Something along those lines.
Yeah, see, I just wrote down sex toy named after you. I didn't even make a notation of. I did have somebody quote chores before whores to me this last week, so I felt good that message is out there. But no, God, I don't know. I think mine would probably have to be something with a little bit of a sneak attack, like it's average sized, kind of girthy like me, but then at the last second when you're getting close, it has some kind of auditory mic that picks up, and when the decibels will reach a certain point of a woman having an orgasm, it slips a pinky in the butt from like underneath, like whoop. Yeah.
Just to complete it.
I got you.
Hello.
I got you. You're not gonna forget this one. And it wouldn't even advertise it on the box. It would just be like,
just, there it is.
There it is.
Oh.
Whoop.
The second time they try it, they're gonna have to go, did that happen? Let's try it.
Because I like to be the underdog. As I'm walking away, or they're trying to walk to the bathroom and they have to stop and steady themselves because their legs no longer work. I want to hear. I want that too.
I like to be the behind dog.
Like when it senses a certain level of moisture, maybe like it'll start to giggle. Like. I'm not saying like I giggle in inappropriate moments during sex, but I will say that I have been known when a girl's like, "What did you just do to me?" Like I've had those moments where you get a hold of one that didn't realize she could squirt, and then you make her squirt, and afterwards she's like, What did you do? How did you know that was good? I didn't know. I've never done it. What did you do to me? And I love it because they're usually trying to back up the bed, and you just keep going. And then afterwards, they're like trying to scale up. They're like, what is that spot? What is it?
Did I just piss the bed?
Yeah. I'm a dick. So I kind of like that. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did. And yes, I did know that was coming. I did that on purpose. You're welcome.
I know you were coming.
Yeah. This whole date might have been a horrible experience, but these 30 seconds you're going to remember. Here's the door.
This is good bourbon. This is good.
Maybe I'd have it called like the Gut Buster 3000.
Yeah. Now we can have it.
Yeah.
We were looking for a reason to.
Yeah. It also comes with a tuna casserole that's full of carbs and cheese.
Perfect.
Oh shit. Oh, good times.
Are you all feeling good?
They've got to admire the change of scenery. Welcome to my home.
I mean, it's
and
winter.
I don't know if you can see it. See that? That's Dad over there. That's my father. That's my sperm donor. He's on the piano.
It's over there.
Yeah, it's over there somewhere. Got a picture of Josh.
It's next to the bright square here.
Yeah.
Right here.
It's There's a picture of Josh over there that looks like Garth Brooks.
Yeah, right.
His disowned. It looks like Garth Brooks' disowned brother.
It's
It's really cool.
let's get that up. There we go.
Anybody want to see Josh Gilbert there? Look at that. I think he's like 25, 28 there, something like that.
Yeah.
He's completely shaved. At this point,
Shaved.
y'all need to realize that he has hair basically from here down. That's the only way you can pull off that hairstyle. Josh, there you go. You got your throw in there.
Go, Buster.
You gotta go.
Good job. Oh boy, I don't know, man.
Good times. That was. I just thought I'd spice that up with that a little
That's
bit.
good. I don't have anything that spicy. I don't think.
Why is it spicy?
Why is spicy? I don't like that.
You ever realize that? When you fuck a girl and you bust inside of her, it's kind of like dropping your kids off at the centers. You just leave them in a playpen.
Here, you take care of that for a while.
There's a good one.
I'm not coming back to pick it up, though.
Yeah, right.
You're kind of on your own at this point.
It's kind of like a mechanic when you don't pay for fixing your car and they're like, we can keep this stick at the bottom. They're like, we'll keep it and sell it after 30 days or some shit. It's like that. You drop your kids off and they'll come back.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
Good times. I seen a TikTok the other day that was old man sayings.
Old man sayings.
Old man sayings.
There's a few of those.
Yeah. No, and that could be a whole episode.
Got one earlier, I guess.
Which
Chewing
one?
the fat.
Oh, chewing the fat, yeah. This one was, that's going to itch after it dries. And I was like, that's
That
on
can go
the
a couple
accurate.
different ways.
Yeah, I mean, you fall on the skin your knee, you know, you tell your kid, that's going to itch after it dries. You know, if somebody does something stupid on the work site, that's going to itch after it dries. He was referring, of course, to ripping ass. And speaking of that, so, you know that song Baby Shark? Baby Shark, do 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 do.
Yeah, thanks for that, by the way.
You're welcome. I hope it carries you all the way home.
If you got kids,
You know that song.
you want me to kill them now?
So Jack, of course, like every other toddler or whatever, loved that song when he was that age.
Yeah.
To this day, I'll still randomly start singing it to him. I don't know why. It's just something we do to fuck with each other. And that's the sad thing is when your kid's like 4, and he's 7 now, but when he was like 4, he was starting to pick up on sarcasm. And I was like, God, I'm fucked. I'm really fucked. But so now...
I did that to my kids and they're 17 and 13.
It's nice to see you pass something on, you know?
Yeah.
But so we're singing Baby Shark the other day, and I start singing Baby Shark.
Short.
Baby Shark, doot 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 doot. And he's like, what's that mean? He's like, oh, it was like that.
About it.
He's like, wait a second, it was fun, and then he realizes I don't know what that word means, and so he's like, what's shark mean? I was like,
Oh crap.
yeah, I messed up this.
Now I got it.
So I explained to him that a shark was a fine line between when you try and push a fart and you accidentally shit a little bit. And I said, now that's a word you can't use.
Do a little bit.
Yeah, I was like, well, I had to make this. I'm honest with him.
You gotta have it right, you know.
But I was like, look, this is a word you can't use. And I was like, in shark, I was like, you don't want to use this word in public. I was like, you and I was like, but you're not going to use it at school. You don't use it around family, you know, and family gatherings and stuff. I was like,
don't
just
tell mom where you're
yeah. Like, Uncle Wes told you.
I've had this conversation.
Yeah. So I explained to him what it was. He's like, shark. Okay, I get it. Whatever. And
Thanks, Uncle Wes.
a few minutes go by, and he goes, I've done that 100 times. And I was like, you know what, buddy? He goes, charted. I've done that 100 times.
You're like, me too.
And he was doing it to be funny. He knew what he was doing. He wasn't like, seriously, yeah, I shit my pants sometimes. The kid was like, I've done that 100 times. You know,
He
trying
picked
to
up on it.
yeah, he was being a
For
smart ass
sure.
right there. He was trying not to giggle so hard because he was trying to
Right.
say,
Trying to get this
yeah,
out.
he's like, I've done that 100 times. I was like,
That's awesome.
have you now? I was kind of proud of him in that
Oh,
moment,
yeah.
just for the comedic timing of you gotta value that and encourage it as
Definitely.
growth in a child.
We're running out of it.
Yeah, yeah. So my kids sharded 100 times. Done that 100 times. I was like, well, I hope it
Yeah.
worked out for you.
It came out in the wash.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was a good one.
Good times, baby shark. Doop, doop. I've done that 100
Times.
That's my boy.
I'm gonna be laughing about that on my own. Good times.
Yeah.
Well,
We're running into time.
we're over an hour.
That works, I suppose.
Yeah.
Sorry it was a little mundane this week. I was really hoping for some more Halloween stories, but I mean, I laughed, so.
Yeah.
If anybody knows me, I guess I don't know if I'm doing. I've put on some few pounds, and I've lost the urge to go buck ass naked for my Halloween costume. I think I did that for I don't know
Yeah.
what 8
Yeah.
years now, something like that. 9 years, I don't know. I've done it for a while with no pants, and that bar up there has just
Yeah.
changed enough.
Right.
It's just not the same.
Lost its essence.
Yeah, a little bit. There's a different crowd in there now, and I actually heard that there was a couple getting a divorce, and the owner of that bar had told one of the parties that they can no longer come in because it wasn't their bar anymore. And I'm like, well, if you want to run it like a private country club,
Well,
then
That's small town
bullshit.
politics type. Not really politics, but
It's just bullshit.
You know,
it's
it's
small
just-
town drama bullshit.
yeah.
And it wasn't like, as far as I know, they weren't causing any problems. It was just kind of like to pick a side, basically.
Right.
And I was just like, you know,
The
if
whole
anybody,
splitting up
if,
friends kind of thing.
yeah, if anybody knows anything about divorces by the time you're past 30, it's that there's always two sides.
Yeah.
And the other thing y'all should know is it's none of your fucking business. Don't get involved. Jesus Christ.
And why cut out half of your business?
Right.
I mean,
Well, it's a small bar. It's not
they
like
can't run 2 bars in that town. Anyway,
honestly,
yeah.
if anybody opened another bar up in that town that had half as much, it'd probably run the other one into the ground.
Well, if I had a reason to open up a bar in a town of 200 people.
Well, right. I mean, no one
I'd do
keeps it alive.
But
Is the people that have been going there for years, and when
Yeah.
you change,
yeah,
you know, the aesthetics of an establishment, your people that have kept it open for
Yes.
that long,
just their friends showing up and that's it.
yeah, they don't want to do that. No more. They don't want to show up and deal with the
Yeah, you get
private
that.
club. So
Yeah. That happens.
sometimes you'll have that.
Sometimes you'll have that.
So
Anyway,
yep.
so I was, I knew this was going to be our Halloween episode, but I remembered it too late. We were going to kind of dress up or do something,
Right.
And I was like, on the way down here this morning, I was like, or on the way to work this morning, I was like, huh, this is going to be our Halloween episode. Well,
I dressed up like an asshole.
I guess I'm dressing up like Al Borland.
I was dressed up as an asshole. I came as myself. It's kind of like my sex life now that I think of it. I came by myself.
Well, you kind of jazzed up the white t-shirt look.
Yeah, nice 80s Harley
Yeah.
retro looking shirt.
I like it.
I used to look like really in shape in this shirt, and now I'm just
I get
showing
that.
my belly button.
I
So.
get that. Everybody's like, you're thicker than you used to be.
So's my dick. You want to see it? Fucking make a
Open up.
comment like that, jackass.
This is what you're gonna get.
That's what your wife said too.
Yeah.
Not your wife, though.
My wife. I
No.
loved it. Never mind. No. I'm not going there.
That's an off-air
Sorry.
story.
That's an off-air story. Anyway. Till next week.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, y'all.
For episode episode 25.
Yeah, if Grandma knew we were having this conversation at her
At
table.
her table. Think of the conversation we had at your dad's table and at your grandma's table.
Dad would have enjoyed those. Grandma would have been offended. She probably would have charged us 50 cents just for talking about a shark.
We already talked about was it Bill Cosby's semen.
Yeah, right, at this table.
Right?
No, I think that was at the other table, wasn't it?
Oh, it was
It was
before.
before,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right. That's right. It
Yeah.
was inside. It was the old table.
Yeah.
That's right. All right. Well, another one in the books.
Yep.
So,
Thanks, y'all.
Have a good
Welcome
week.
back.
cheers.
Hey, and check your candy.
Gross.